SDK.finance. In this video, we'll walk through the set of APIs available for managing customer support chats between service users and business users. To begin, if you want to view all chats created in the system, use the corresponding API. You can apply various filters to narrow down the conversations you're looking for. Conversations and chats are considered the same thing in this context. Available filters include Business Process ID, Investigation ID, Chat Creation Date, Initiator, Text Search and more. To access this endpoint, you need to be logged in as a service user with the necessary permissions to view all chats. Let's try calling the API with filters for chat creation date and ticket type. As you can see, the response returns all chats that match the filters. You can add more filters to refine your search further. For example, you can filter chats based on message content using a text search. Next, let's create a new chat. Depending on the type you specify, chats can be created by service users, business users, or both. If you're creating a support chat, which is a general-purpose chat, both service and business users can initiate it. In this case, the service user must provide either the organization ID or the user ID of the business user they want to message. If you're creating a transaction chat, it can also be created by either role. You'll need to include the related object ID, which is the transaction ID. For an investigation chat, it can only be created by a service user. You'll also need to provide the investigation ID as the related object. Additional required fields include category, for example, general, financial or payment. Topic, the subject of the chat. Message, the initial message. Optional, file IDs to attach documents. Let's try this API in Postman. Here, we're creating a chat related to a transaction. We've provided the transaction ID and the business user ID in the request body. The chat was successfully created. The response confirms the initiator, which in our case was a system user. Now let's send a message to the chat. Both service users and business users can send messages. To do this, use the API that writes messages to an existing conversation. You'll need the conversation ID, which can be retrieved from the chat creation response or the chats list. If you want to attach a file, upload it first using the Poster Media Files API. Once the file is uploaded, copy the returned file ID. Then, use the Message API again. Include your message and the file ID in the request body, and send it. You can attach multiple files by listing their IDs in the File IDs array. We've now successfully sent a message with an attachment. The response confirms the file and sender. To demonstrate, we'll now log in as the business user involved in the same chat. They'll send another message with a different file attached. Just like before, upload the file, copy its ID, and include it in the request body. Whether or not you include files is optional. Now the business user has successfully sent a message, and the response confirms their identity. You can also mark messages as read. To do this, use the API for marking messages. Provide the conversation ID in the URL, and list one or more message IDs in the request body. Message IDs can be retrieved from the message creation response or by viewing messages in a chat. After executing the request, a 204 response confirms that the messages were successfully marked as read. Now let's retrieve all messages from a specific conversation. Use the API for viewing chat messages and provide the conversation ID. You can optionally add filters, such as Sender Type, Sender ID, Created at, Unread Status. Let's filter for all read messages. Here they are. We can also filter messages sent specifically by the business user. And now, messages sent by the service user. Next, let's look at how to view files attached to specific messages. To retrieve these, use the API for listing media files by message. You'll need both the conversation ID and the message ID. Copy both from the earlier responses. Call the API, and in the response, you'll see all files attached to that message. In this case, we see one file uploaded by the business user. Finally, let's look at how to delete a chat. To remove a chat, use the Delete Conversation API. Provide the conversation ID and submit the request. The chat will be deleted, and the system will return a 204 status code. There's no content in the response, but it confirms the deletion was successful. To verify, try viewing messages from that chat again. You'll receive an error saying the conversation is not found. And that's how to use the customer support chat APIs in SDK.finance, from listing and creating chats to sending messages, handling attachments, and removing conversations.